It's filthy, baby, ain't nobody else. What's the deal with rack mount samplers these days? You can't find any good ones, and they don't seem to really make them anymore. And honestly, that makes me sad. In a perfect world, we will have a variety of rack mount samplers at a decent price for all of us to tinker with. However, it's 2025 and most of us have moved on. DAWs have become very powerful. DAWs provide a great solution for all of your sampling capabilities. Heck, you can even take your laptop on stage and perform an entire set in Ableton Live. They have made samplers simpler and left these old hunks of junk back in the past. In this video, I'm gonna tell you exactly why I purchased the Yamaha A3000 Professional Sampler, and I'll be making a beat using the MPC 500 as a sequencer. However, I will only be using the sampler for its effects. But to sum it up, too lazy didn't watch. I bought the Yamaha A3000 to turn samples from this into this. So let's get right into it. Alrighty, so when you open up the device, you're probably gonna see something like this. It's gonna be program 1. And I already sampled something inside, but if I go inside, further down in the program select, I have one sample over here. But I also have this one. This one is a snare that I sampled. If I go into the easy edit section, or is it the easy, or actually it's the filter over here, I sampled this original sample. Yeah, so I sampled this original sample at, I think it was 5 kilohertz. But now you have all these different options. So you have 44.1K, 22 lo-fi, 11K lo-fi, 5K lo-fi, etc. What's beautiful about the Yamaha A3000, fact is that you can sample and test out the effects while monitoring the incoming audio. Now, I don't have a mixer right now. When I'm hearing the playback, I'm mostly hearing the original sample from Ableton, but I'll show you an example of what I could do with these effects. So right here, I put a phaser, I put a room reverb, and I don't know if this is voice cancel. I'm not sure what this is. Exciter, wah, auto wah. Let's see how this sounds. And so with that, you can assign these 3 effects, and it gives you more flexibility of what you can do within the samples that you use. So because there's so many effects, and the MPC 500 is quite limited in the amount of effects that it offers, I think this is a good choice, a good partner rather in crime. So I'm gonna dive into this a bit more. Let's just audition. Let's go back inside here. So look at this snare sample right over here. If we go over here, we can detune it to phase it a little bit. We can set up how loud you would want it, you know, based upon your key group. You can set up poly or mono. If you're chopping up samples, then maybe just put that to mono versus a nice long pad or like a key group or something like that. Key group instrument. Let's go to filter. So if I just And there's different filters you could choose from. So while using this, you can really craft the sound that you want your drums to sound like. You know, I can make it really lo-fi, really crunchy. There's some like nice aliasing. There's even LFOs. Let's see if... See, so I'm sending the LFO to the pitch right now. I can phase invert it, or you want to send it to the app. You really have a lot of flexibility with a sampler like this. All right, so let's just go into the beat that I created a bit. This is the hook. And I'll just go through the samples that I've used. I'll show it in an Ableton project right afterwards, but let's just see. All right, so if I go to bank B, this was all sampled in the A3000. I put this one effect called Celeste on it, so I had more of like a spacey vibe. And it was actually a beat that I previously worked on. I liked the drum groove, I just didn't like the samples I originally used. The drums were okay, I didn't really change the drums that much. However, let's just go into this snare. All right, so if I go to mode program, probably put that to mono. But anyways, we go to mode program, and I have two layers. So I have the snare 5, and then I have the Darrell snare. So let's just go into snare 5, we go to mode trim. It's probably going to be loud. Oh no, it's not that loud. But this is the same snare that I sampled back into the A3000 with some reverb on it. And so what I did, essentially, if you go inside here, so first layer is the original sample, second layer is snare 5. And for the second layer, I just turned it down to 54, and it's up for 70. So both of them together gives you like kind of a stronger snare, but I wanted there to be a little bit of reverb because of how much reverb is on the samples, so I want it to kind of fill out the space a bit better. So let's go over, like, I found this sample, I thought it was good. I had an issue from transitioning from the hook to the first verse. So if we go inside the song, let's go into it was just like a little scratch, like a and then afterwards I had a different sample, but this was much longer. This was like, and then there was another sample that I didn't use, this one. It's a cool sample, but I just didn't find a place in it once I deleted the original samples that filled up the space. And so if I go, this was originally a little bit too loud. If I go into program, 75, and I brought it down. But all of these samples, it's part of the same song. So I only ended up using these ones a few times during the beat, once at the beginning, another time within the middle section, and yeah, so I also bass, let's see for the bass. What I did was I took a bass sample from Ableton and then I ran it through the A3000, and I used a bit of an exciter, I think it was an exciter or a compressor, not sure, but let's see if I tuned it down, because I don't remember if I did. Yeah, so I tuned it down by 1, and it was just one shot. So let's all right, I was just experimenting with other bass sounds, like an 808 sounds and stuff. I think this was like the first thing that I sampled. I was like, oh wow, I really like the effects, the Celeste effect, so I used that in the end. I still, as per my last video, yeah, so let's see, FX1, it's still grunger, so I just needed a bit more gain on the sample, and I didn't want to auto norm it, so I used the grunger. And yeah, that's pretty much it, because in the future I'll explore actually assigning key groups on the device and then using the MPC 500 to sequence that. However, in this time I just wanted to use the effects for the main samples and just to spice up some of my drums a bit. So yeah, let's hear what we created. Here I'll just show you what I did for my samples. Essentially I took the original song and I put it here, and then everything that I sampled into the A3000, I just brought it down a layer, and then over here put a little EQ 8 on it. Just simple stuff. Made shorter samples too. I think the second half had some changes, like over here. Yeah, like right here. Yeah, so for the bass, I just took this B bass. Usually what I do is I put it in the key and then I just click a note on the keyboard, or I just click one of these notes from the highlighted scale and use that note. And then use the 12 levels on the MPC 500 and then use that as a bass. Here's like, I just used it for a preview on the YouTube shorts. And we go to the audio, it's just a multi-band and a limiter. That's pretty much it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This was a brief overview of how I use the Yamaha A3000 for its effects in combination with the MPC 500 to make that beat. The Yamaha A3000 is an interesting piece of kit. However, it's a noisy one on that. Just note that with the fan spinning in the back, it's quite noisy. You'll just hear this constant humming noise, but with headphones, I think you should be good. As it's my second day with the device, I'm still learning the ins and outs, but so far it's been a fun exploration in order to just crunch up some of the samples, throw some effects, some bit reduction here and there, and I think it works well with the MPC 500. I think it works well with any MPCs for that matter. But what I want to say is just don't sleep on this device. Don't sleep on rack mount samplers in general, because they offer a different way to work, but not necessarily a bad one at that. I have a Gotex drive yet to install in the device. If you know of any places where you can find more resources on the Yamaha A3000, feel free to drop it down in the comments. If you want to learn more about this sampler and the MPC 500, please hit subscribe, like this video, and comment down below sharing your thoughts and opinions. With that being said, I hope you have a great evening and a fantastic day. Keep making beats. Peace.